Alex Kessman, one of the top kickers in the conference, will put toe to leather. And we are underway. Nakeem Johnson back deep to receive this kick for Syracuse. Into the back of the end zone. Touchback, and we'll get our first opportunity to see this great Pitt defense going against Tommy DeVito, as Kelsey said in the open, with a big challenge ahead of him today, Mark.
Yeah, it is a big challenge ahead of Tommy, and when you look at guys who everyone was excited to see back week 1 out of Pitt's defense, Keyshawn Camp and Rashad Weaver, they had to miss that game, didn't even dress, so they are both back this week, and we will see how much their leadership but also pass rush ability can affect Tommy DeVito and get him off his spot.
Need to get their running game going too. They ran for 68 yards last week against North Carolina, and this Pitt defense, I know it was Austin Peay, but they held the Governors to just 1 yard on the ground. So DeVito in the shotgun as we start the pass immediately, and tried to find his receiver that time. Nakeem Johnson broken up by Damar Hamlin.
Yeah, Damar Hamlin's a guy who's at that safety position, maybe the more underrated safety, him and Paris Ford back there together. But Damar Hamlin is a guy who has so much leadership on this defense. Big play there on first down.
DeVito now faking the option. He keeps it, trying to find a little running room, and gets very little, maybe a yard. Patrick Jones is second there for the stop.
We got third down here for Tommy DeVito. This is one area that they were not good at all, especially in the first half versus UNC last week. They're only 2 of 11 on third downs in that first half. And right now, at 3rd and 9 is not the position Dino Babers wants to get into, but they're going to look for Taj Harris. Look at him, bottom of your screen. He's his go-to target on third down.
Panthers bring 4. DeVito steps up, has a receiver complete, and that's going to be enough to pick up the first down. Take a look at Anthony Quealy, not a name that we've mentioned, you know, previously in previous years for Syracuse. This sophomore, though, had 4 catches last week. He's going to become a little bit of a go-to guy for DeVito. DeVito quickly with the fake, going back outside, and Paris Ford is right there on top of Quealy to drop him for a loss.
Yeah, you talk about these wide receivers for Syracuse. You see right now how fast this Sterling Gilbert offense for Syracuse is going. They need to rotate a bunch of guys in, and so you're going to see more of Anthony Quealy, Nakeem Johnson, Sherrod Johnson. A bunch of these guys are going to rotate in, and already they're making an effect on this game.
Loss of 2 on first down, 2nd down and 12. DeVito with the fake. He's going to keep it, has a little bit of room, picks up 3, maybe 4 yards before being dropped by Cam Bright.
All right, well, another third down for Tommy DeVito. Really good pickup on that first one. If Syracuse wants to continue to go fast, they need to extend drives. Last week, they had so many 3-and-outs while going fast that their defense got so exhausted. So huge play right now for Tommy DeVito, just to make sure he keeps his defense off the field for a maximum number of reps.
You saw DeVito's numbers from last week. Rex Culpepper got some time at that quarterback spot as well in Chapel Hill. They had drawn Pitt to offsides, and they did, so it's a free play. Tried to go up top. Couldn't hit Taj Harris, but we'll wait on the call. It certainly appeared that Pitt jumped.
Offside, defense, number 32. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Good awareness by Tommy DeVito and the snapper, Carlos Vitorlo, to get the ball out, and then once Taj Harris sees that flag go in the air, he converts his route to a go route. Good coverage on the back end by Jason Pinnock to break up that pass.
So 3rd and 8 now becomes a much more manageable 3rd and 3 for DeVito.
A press coverage by Pitt.
The sideline.
Press coverage by Pitt's defense. They're right up in their wide receivers. They're known for this press coverage. Tough on 3rd and 3.
Pitt comes with just 4. DeVito scrambling out to the left. Tries to find Quealy and cannot connect, so it'll bring up 4th down. Nice coverage that time by Marquez Williams.
Yeah, Marquez Williams is playing in that corner spot. That was vacated by DeMar Mathis's injury. He should have been the starter. But Marquez Williams played very well early in last week's game, especially against the run. Good to see him step up on 3rd down in the pass game for this Pitt defense.
Jordan Addison back to return this punt. He'll let it bounce, and it's a good punt out of bounds. pushing the Panthers deep into their own territory. And our first opportunity today to take a look at Kenny Pickett.
Well, long field here on the first drive for Kenny Pickett, but Kenny Pickett is no stranger to gaining yards. 3,000 yards through the air last year, approaching 6,000 yards in his career. We know he can throw the ball, but I think what he was able to do in the first game versus Austin Peay with his legs on the ground set up a lot of the play action plays later. Look for this Mark Whipple offense that's so known to air it out, to get these running backs involved early. 5 running backs scored touchdowns in last week's game. They would love to continue more of the same.
Unlike Syracuse, Pitt starting the game on the ground, trying to get that ground game going, and Vincent Davis got the start. You know, Coach Narduzzi talked about all these running backs trying to find that number 1, and Vincent Davis, we did the game last week, Mark. He got really the lion's share of the carries, and he really liked what he did. That's why he's giving him the start today. Pitt trying to go fast, a little unusual here. Addison can't bring it in, and they'll bring up 3rd down for the Panthers. Yeah,
it's a big 3rd down. And, you mentioned Vincent Davis, and when we talked with Andre Powell, the running backs coach, he said 3 things my running backs need to do: protect the football, protect the quarterback, and extend plays. And they felt Vincent Davis was maybe the best at making guys miss and extending plays. That's why you see him getting the start today.
The Panthers trying to go a little tempo here. Pickett on 3rd down, back to pass. There's a 4-man rush. Can't find Addison. We do have a flag on the play. Let's check the call.
Illegal formation offense. 5 players were in the backfield. Penalties declined. 4th down.
Word from Jerry Magdalenis, our referee on the day. Penalty declined by Syracuse. It'll bring up 4th down. So that's hey, Mark, that's a really positive for that Syracuse defense.
Absolutely. To get Kenny Pickett and this offense off the field so seemingly easily is huge for the Syracuse, especially to build confidence. They did not perform well in the 4th quarter the last time they came out, and to start that way is going to give their offense great field position after this punt.
Christodoulou with the punt. Flag on the play as it's picked up by Johnson. Right out of bounds near midfield. Again, let's check the call. An illegal procedure against Pitt. Let's see what Dino Babers chooses to do here, whether he wants to have him re-kick it.
Not much on the return there. I always like to make them re-kick it because those guys who just covered the punt are going to be tired.
That sounds like somebody who knows a little bit about
illegal formation offense. 5 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Replay 4th down.
Yeah, I like that. I like the decision by Babers. Make him kick it again. I've been on that punt team before, and I've sprinted down the field trying to get off a block. And then when a penalty is called, you got to do it all over again. That's when you see a lot of big returns happen, because the same guys are out there covering punts, and you could even rotate out a new return man to keeping the same one in the very dangerous return man, Nakeem Johnson.
Also got a re-snap, but that all has to go well too. A high snap down here deep in your own territory could be points for Syracuse.
Yeah, it could. We'll kind of see how they line up, see if they decide to come after this punt.
Christodoulou back to kick again with Nakeem Johnson near midfield to return the kick. Johnson from his own 49 couldn't handle it at first, but now he has some room to run inside the 40, 35. So Babers was right to have him re-kick it. Syracuse will...
Pittsburgh, just because of this rivalry game, shaping up to be a good one so far early. These teams are trading 3 and outs.
Good starting field position for Syracuse, and Mark, the issues running the football continue.
Yeah, and these issues are not just predicated on the offensive line. Not only is the offensive line not very stout and have not had a lot of experience playing together, but 2 of their top running backs, Abdul Adams and Jarvion Howard, opted out before this season, leaving the 2 backups to take their place.
A real trial by fire, and then we'll have another opportunity for Jordan. Now that's a better pickup on 2nd down, but it will bring up 3rd down and 5 for the Orange.
Yeah,
He's
it is.
definitely the shiftier of the two backs.
Yeah, and when I do see this run game work, a lot of times it goes over the left side of the line with Aaron Service, who's their leader and their fifth-year captain, and Chris Elmore, a guy who transferred over from tight end to play offensive guard. But right now, Tommy DeVito had a good play on the first 3rd and 3. Let's see if he can connect on a quick pass to his receiver or not with the flag.
Flag down before the snap.
False start. Offense. Number 60. 5-yard down.
Matthew Bergeron, the guilty party. That's going to drive a coach crazy, because you go from 3rd and a manageable 5 now to 3rd and long against this defense. They can pin their ears back.
It's a completely different play call too. 3rd and 5 versus 3rd and 10. Those are two extremely different play calls. Really, the run game is completely out right now. They're going to have to look downfield again. Top target, number 3, Taj Harris.
DeVito checks the sideline. Pittsburgh shows the pressure.
Pitt's coming back out and check in. Look for them to drop out of this pressure.
DeVito now flushed out of the pocket. He'll be sacked. First time in this game, and that's big old Kalijah Cansey from that defensive tackle spot. Keep it on number 8.
Oh, great job of just beating 2 blocks. He beat the offensive guard, Darius Tisdale, and then the running back, just swiping him by. Great pursuit to the ball, and this is a guy who's a redshirt freshman. Fantastic play to set up a 4th down and a punt to get his offense the ball back.
So that great field position, especially with that sack, goes for naught for Syracuse. Nolan Cooney on to kick for the Orange. Addison will just let this one drop inside the 5, and it takes a Pitt bounce into the end zone for a touchback. You just want to make sure everybody is aware of what's going on in the ACC this year, because it's a very different. Pickett now 2nd drive of the game for Pitt. Got plenty of time as he surveys the field. Now he's running out, and he's just going to have to get what he can, which is basically nothing.
If there's one area that I would say is the strong point of this Syracuse defense, it is the back end. This is a new defense to Pitt. They're running the 3-3-5 as they hired Tony White to be their defensive coordinator this year. And that 3-3-5 is predicated on those 5 defensive backs covering up everybody. Great coverage in that last play forced Kenny Pickett to run.
Panthers again going with the running game on the left side. Vincent Davis, give him about 3 or 4. Davis, the sophomore from Fort Lauderdale, impressed last week in Pitt's opener against Austin Peay, so getting the start today. Pickett bobbling the snap a little bit, now quickly firing out to the sideline, trying to find Addison. He makes the catch right at the marker, and I think the officials are going to give him the 1st down.
Well, it's the first time we've seen Jordan Addison. He dropped that ball early, but he's a guy who came in as a true freshman early. He graduated high school and came to Pitt during the spring so that he could work on timing with Kenny Pickett. You saw right there, great job reaching down, sure-handed, pick up the 1st down.
Davis tried to get outside. Really nice play. Knifing in that time was number 31, Jeff Canton-Arku.
Jeff Canton-Arku is one of the guys on this linebacker core that features 0 snaps from the previous years. These guys have no experience other than last week. And when we talked to Dino Babers, he said these are NFL potential linebackers. They just have to grow into their own. Good play early by Jeff Canton-Arku.
2nd down and 13. Quick screen. Falls incomplete. Is it going to be a fumble or a pass? Officials now marking it as if it was a lateral. The initial call is that it is a lateral, and Mikel Jones picked it up.
The field is a backwards pass recovered by the defense. 1st down, Syracuse.
From my initial view of that, it did look like it was going backwards. And that's a dangerous pass. You always want to get enough depth as a quarterback, so you just make that forward. It's tough to see from that angle, but obviously good play by Syracuse to pick it up just in case. Yard line there. Remember, this has to be backwards. It can't be sideways. Sideways is still forward, but that was backwards.
The officials were right on it. In any case here, Mark, now it's for the second time in as many drives, Syracuse gets great field position here deep in Pitt territory. DeVito to throw again. Has a receiver out in the flat. Connects with Courtney Jackson. Hamlin is there for the stop. A good pickup on first down.
This is an area that Syracuse needs to improve on. Last week versus UNC, they got the ball in UNC territory 3 times and only scored 6 points. A touchdown would be huge and necessary on this drive.
DeVito keeps it and runs into a wall of Panthers. He'll lose a yard.
It's going to be tough sledding for Tommy DeVito on that keeper right up the middle. We mentioned Keyshawn Camp, Rashad Weaver, but this defensive line is stacked. Might be one of the best and most physical up front in the entire ACC.
Rex Culpepper now in a quarterback for Syracuse.
Keep an eye at the bottom of your screen. It's Taj Harris one-on-one.
Culpepper will keep it. The same play and same results. A wall of Panther tacklers, and he'll lose at least a couple of feet. Wendell Davis and company there for the stop.
Yeah,
so those struggles in the red zone continue, Mark.
Yeah, an interesting play call too. You know, putting your backup quarterback in. Obviously, they wanted to utilize him in the run game, but really, I want to see what Tommy DeVito can do in that situation. He's got to prove that he can throw the ball into the end zone on a 3rd down in the red zone. Didn't even give him the opportunity to try.
Andre Schmidt now to give Syracuse the early lead. Does just that, splits the uprights. The 2018 Groves Award winner gives the Orange the early advantage.
UPMC right around the corner. Randy Bates did his cancer treatments last year as he overcame tonsil cancer, and everybody remembers James Conner. When he battled his cancer, he was also treated there. So really multifaceted program there, and great to have such a fantastic medical center so close and so closely related to your football program.
Yeah, defensive coordinator Randy Bates for Pitt said he came here to Pitt. He thought he came to Pitt to be a defensive coordinator, and he really came here to have his life saved because UPMC was so instrumental in his battle with cancer last year, in his continued battle with cancer.
Yeah, knowing that you're going in for treatments and being in careful and attentive hands, and you know, someone that is known for being able to cure you is very, very relieving.
Pitt trailing for the first time this season as they get the ball back, in a big run right up the middle by Daniel Carter. So our first look at Carter today.
Yeah, Daniel Carter, a really good back. You're going to see him a lot more between the tackles, a little bit bigger than the other guys. 220 pounds. Coach said when he saw his legs, he said those will break some tackles.
Didn't have to break very many tackles on that first run, and doesn't have to break any tackles until he got to the 2nd level on this one. So 2 good runs by Daniel Carter, and first down for the Panthers.
I love these play calls by Mark Whipple on this drive. You know, you had the fumble, you had the 3 and out, and you want to get back to running the football. He said good teams run the ball when they want to run the ball. You need to establish that early.
Pitt player injured, Jake Zelinskas. We'll check in on him when we come back. Pickett the handoff this time to A.J. Davis. Still no whistle. Davis still on his feet as he picks up a couple. So we saw Daniel Carter there for a little bit. He was just hobbled a bit on that last run, so he went to the sideline. First time you get a chance to see A.J. Davis, also a bigger back.
Yeah, he is a bigger back, and he was their leading rusher last year, and he has really his career high, 103 yards on 16 carries versus Syracuse last year.
Pickett stepping up into the pocket nicely, connecting with the transfer from Maryland, DJ Turner.
Well, 3 run plays lead to a play action. A little ball fake to his running back, and is able to fire it down the middle. That's a difficult throw, throwing that in cut over a linebacker's head, and that's what Pat Narduzzi loves about his quarterback, Kenny Pickett.
Catch by Turner, too. Now he tries to find his tight end, Lucas Kroll, and they can't connect. I know you love this kid.
Oh, man, Lucas Kroll. He's a guy. So, first of all, in the most important thing that he is the flow coach for Kenny Pickett. They talk about the hair. You see that, those locks hanging out the back of his helmet. Kenny Pickett was saying he was going to get a haircut, and Kroll said, no, 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 keep it growing. You're just in the ugly phase. You got to get past it. But you see his stats and his numbers. Huge kid, super fast, going to be a threat in this Pitt offense.
We've been in that ugly phase for decades. Can't seem to get out of that ugly phase either. Nothing ugly about that play. First down. Shockey Jacques-Louis, who had a big game last weekend on the receiving end. Panthers now moving.
Yeah, and back to Kroll, just what he brings. He was a transfer from Florida, as you said, and he was actually a baseball player at Jefferson College before that, but he's a guy that Mark Whipple can utilize in a bunch of different spots, line up at wide receiver spots, hopefully make big plays
and a score with
down the
Addison.
field. And how about that big play? How about that big play to Jordan Addison, the true freshman? He had a drop earlier in the game, came back at a nice catch. But this is a guy that Kenny Pickett feels if he can get rolling, he could be an absolute difference maker. Only 6 foot, but he can burn down the sidelines, get behind defenders, make a big touchdown pass, and catch just like that.
And the Maryland transfer, Turner making a catch on that drive, and a young man from Frederick, Maryland, true freshman Jordan Addison with the score, and Alex Kessman on to make it a 4-point advantage for the Panthers. Kessman nails the PAT, 7-6. Pitt's on top, and just like that, Mark, wow. I mean, they struggled a little bit their first couple of drives, and that was efficient.
Yeah, well, this is where Kenny Pickett just settled in. Okay, we didn't pick up that first down, went 3 and out, then we had a fumble. This is what NFL-style quarterbacks, NFL composure quarterbacks can do. Just settle in, play our football game, and have confidence in his offensive line and wide receivers to keep him protected and make catches down the field.
Kelsey's got more on this freshman receiver.
Well, one of the things that Kenny Pickett actually told us is, although he is a freshman, and obviously this offseason has been very different, guys, with COVID, since Addison enrolled early, it actually helped them. He came in January. They were able to work on a little bit of that timing before things shut all the way down. Obviously very valuable when Pitt, like all of these other teams, have been so limited this offseason because of the pandemic.
And Addison taking over. When you think about Maurice French, who had 96 catches last year, Addison has stepped in nicely in that slot spot. And it looks like this offense hasn't missed a beat. Hakeem Johnson. It's popped before he even got to the 20. Big hit by Servassier Dennis.
Say that name again. Servassier Dennis. Absolutely fantastic play. Oh my goodness. That, my friend, is how you tackle a football carrier. Man, coach talks about him. You know, he's a guy who comes in on the 3rd down unit to blitz package, but he's a guy who has great speed, change of direction, intelligent guy. Really pretty fancy play on that one. I'm jacked up in my house right now.
Got to have you for the game, though. Don't go down to the gym in the basement just yet. A little later on tonight. Running game, 4 yards on first down. Okay, Jawar Jordan trying to get that established. Devin Danielson on the stop for the Panthers, and they want to go fast. DeVito keeps it into the hole, 30. It's close to the 35. Before Hamlin makes the stop. So DeVito showing his athleticism, his legs. 10 yards on the carry.
That ability is what you need to make this offense work. We saw Dungy a few years ago, so effective on the ground. DeVito needs to add that to his game in order to make this offense work, and also the speed of this offense work, keeping the defense on their heels.
Hakeem Johnson on the receiving end. 6 yards, quick passes.
See the no-huddle offense is what Dino Babers is known for. 80 plays last week, just constantly back to the ball.
Another quick screen. There's Harris. Oh man, miss, and then he got rocked, but not before he picked up a first down. Harris Ford let him know he was going to be around all afternoon long, but it was a nice move by Harris to get the first down.
Harris is a guy in this offense that can absolutely make you look silly. I mean, he is so long and skinny, you don't think he can move the way he does, but his stop and start, change of direction, can leave guys laying on their face. Not Paris Ford, though.
Harris Ford met face-to-face with Harris, but it's a first down for the Orange. Now going up top, DeVito trying to get the long ball going. Well covered. Hamlin was there, and Nakeem Johnson really didn't have any shot. Good coverage.
Yeah, really good coverage. And you know, DeMar Hamlin was just playing that post position, and Marquise Williams was stride for stride with Nakeem Johnson. Tommy DeVito wanted to take that shot downfield, put it out of reach of everybody, which actually, if you're going to take that shot just to loosen up the defense, good to put it away so no one catches the ball, especially the defense.
Second down and 10 from their own 46. Pitt bringing just 4, but the pocket collapses. DeVito sacked for the second time today.
Wow. Chris, we had an over-under. We talked about this on how many sacks we thought Pitt's defense was going to get. I said over-under on 7. I think you might have taken the over.
Yeah, I took the over on that.
I mean, but just already in this game, the pressure on 2nd and long and 3rd and long by the front 4 of this defensive line is so impactful, and they didn't ever get to that quarterback.
And think about it, David Green and Elijah Cansey with sacks. These are 2 guys who are backups on that defensive line. 3rd down and 13. Pocket collapses again, and down goes the quarterback again. This time Pitt brought more pressure, and there was no shot.
No, you're going to see this all day. I mean, you're going to see this a lot. When we look at Syracuse offensive line last week, they just did not have that second level communication. They got their hands on the first assignment, but weren't able to bump off to their second assignment. And you see that right there. As you bring more than 5 guys, they have a tough time communicating. And Dino Babers was hoping that week 1 to week 2 transition would help fix some of that.
Drive stalls. Nolan Cooney to punt. Addison again letting this one bounce. And roll out of bounds at about the 24-yard line. Tomorrow we'll have a women's soccer quadruple header. He's starting to warm up, and they were moving more quickly too as far as tempo goes. Now under center. That's something you see every day. Jet sweep. Good room to run by Addison, and he'll pick up close to 10, give him 9.
Shifted motions are something that are known in this Mark Whipple offense. Right there, they created an unbalanced side of the formation. Syracuse wasn't able to adjust in a big run for 9 on 1st down.
Davis just eludes a tackler enough to fall forward for the first. Final minute of this first quarter. Entertaining football game so far. Beautiful day in Pittsburgh.
We talked a little bit about Tony White coming as the new defensive coordinator for Syracuse, and he has installed this 3-3-5 defense. You're going to see on 1st and 2nd down, really it looked like 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, but then when you get into longer down situations, they have only 3 down. Right now they're showing that 3 down look. Pressure can come from anywhere.
And it does come right up the middle, but Pickett avoids it. Fires a strike. Beautiful pitch and catch. DJ Turner on the receiving end for another 1st down.
Kenny Pickett got hit hard low after the end of this play. That's one where you fall down on that hip and just hope you don't get a hip bruise. He's up walking nicely on the field.
Yeah, it looks pretty. 5 yards in the 1 score already in the first quarter, going to the Wildcat here. A nice pickup out of that cat is Todd Sibley Jr. Another big back for Pitt.
Yeah, you see Kenny Pickett say, where you going, Pickett? But really good play. Sibley did a lot of this last year late in the season, that Wildcat. He's dumped it off in the pass a couple times just to keep the defense honest, but you got to get ready for those guards, those big boys leading up through as Sibley runs that Wildcat offense. He's the back there again, it looks like.
Directing traffic. He wasn't going to hand it off. Flag down on the play. It looks like they're going to blow this one dead. The check on it. Sibley picked up about 6 if it would stand, but I think the officials blew this one dead before it even got going.
False start. Yeah. Offense. Number 71. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
Jerry Magalanis telling us that Bryce Hargrove jumped. You saw Pickett starting to warm up a little bit. That Pitt defense, as we expected, Mark. 6 TFLs and 3 sacks.
Yeah, and when you give up those already, they're just drive killers. Even if that TFL or that sack's on first or second down, it makes it so much more difficult to get the ball into first down range. And with this defensive backfield that Pitt has, it makes it even more hard for these wide receivers on Syracuse to get open.
1st and 15 now for Pittsburgh, and let's see if the Syracuse defense now can take advantage of the fact that the Panthers are playing behind the chains. Officials setting the clocks. Pickett has a word or two with his offensive line. Big old Keldrick Wilson now in right tackle. Syracuse comes with pressure, and Pickett makes him pay. Quick toss out to Jared Wayne.
Great job reading the defense by Pickett. He saw man-to-man on the outside. And when he sees man-to-man with that pressure up the middle, he knows that the defender is going to have inside leverage. Good job getting it outside to his wide receiver. Pick up a few yards on that first down.
Pressure coming off the corner. Now they get to Pickett. That looked like Cody Roscoe coming off the edge. A big wrestling match for the ball, looks.
Yeah, and Cody Roscoe. Let's see if the ball comes out.
Yes, it did. He fell right on it.
The ball did came out. I think it was Stephon Thompson, the linebacker, wearing number, is it 27 or 97? Not exactly sure, but either way, good dip move around the corner.
You're right, that's 27, Thompson.
And Thompson's a true freshman. You talked about the inexperience at this linebacker spot, but they thought these guys had a knack for blitzing. You saw Thompson's knack there getting to the quarterback.
Pitt trying to get it back on 3rd and 11 on the ground, and A.J. Davis picks up a chunk of it, but it won't be enough for a first down.
You don't see mess up. Well, now you're starting to it. For a second, the offense was staying on the field, wondering if they were going to try to go for it. This could be a long field goal try, but really they're all-world kicker.
Yeah, long for who? For Kessman?
Yeah, long for me.
Kessman has 8 field goals made from beyond 50 yards. This one's 37, so clearly within his range. But he hooks it. No good, so Syracuse defense does hold.
In 3, Syracuse ball.
Kessman 0 for 2 on the season. Shockingly, is 2 of the better kickers in the conference here in this game. Syracuse takes over, and immediately a flag on the play against, let's see how the call rolls. Looks like the officials picked it up.
Yep.
DeVito wants to get going quickly, and why not? First down, Orange. Sean Tucker getting some action at tailback now for Syracuse. We need to find a solution there, so why not empty out the cupboard here and see what you got? DeVito with the pump. Look out. Yeah. Engulfed by Panthers. Cansey was there again.
That's Kalijah's 2nd sack. Really good push up front, and that little pump that Tommy DeVito made. His receiver was not looking back on a hot route, and I mean, he is getting abused back there right now. Really good play and pursuit. Yeah, pursuit by Kalijah Cansey. But remember, last year in the 9 sacks that Pitt had, one of those sacks knocked DeVito out, and now we see Rex Culpepper at quarterback.
Culpepper immediately connects with the receiver in Nakeem Johnson. So a nice pickup, and maybe that'll get Culpepper going as we look at DeVito on the sideline being attended to by the staff at Syracuse.
It's not a good look. You never want to see that from your starting quarterback. As effective or ineffective as he is, doesn't even matter. You just have an experienced signal caller there, and now Culpepper, really good completion on that first one. This is his offense now, 3rd and 11. Look for pressure out of this Pitt defense.
They come with 4. So Culpepper going up top, and he has a receiver open. Connects with Harris. Stays on his feet inside the 10. He'll score. Wow, on 3rd and 11. 69 yards.
Do we have a new quarterback in Syracuse Orange? How about that? You know what that reminds me of? Especially with that hair. Remember when Trevor Lawrence came in? First pass he threw, big touchdown. Are we making Trevor Lawrence comparison to Rex Culpepper already? Maybe we are. Great pass, though, young fella.
This will show you my age. I thought you were going to talk about Tannehill, the quarterback from South Carolina, way before we had Trevor Lawrence at Clemson. Either way, Syracuse fans pleased with that development. First touchdown of the year for Taj Harris. And you said in the open, he's their big play threat, and he makes good on that comment. Schmidt with the extra point. Syracuse back on top just like that.
Has almost 1,800 days of just working towards getting back on the field, getting healthy. When he was actually in high school, he tore his hamstring, worked back, and has been part of this team for a long time. Last week got his first opportunity to play, and as we saw earlier, was injured. He's got ice on his right leg, but let me tell you what, I talked to him this week. He says it means so much to him that the fact that he has this opportunity, was also awarded a scholarship in the preseason. And this is a guy, as I mentioned, that everyone has rallied around. You see players continuously coming up to check on him. We'll continue to keep an eye on both of those players.
Yeah, it's a shame after waiting all that long. You see the ice pack on his right leg, and Carter with the ice on his left ankle. So we'll keep an eye on those 2 players for Pitt. Mistake by Syracuse on the kickoff, giving a little bit of an extra field position to Pitt. Straight up the middle went A.J. Davis, another flag on the play. This one before the snap. Maybe he's looking at the Syracuse sideline. If it was before the snap, there's no option.
Illegal formation, offense. Penalties declined. The play is accepted. 2nd down.
Illegal formation, not illegal procedure, so the play did count. And Syracuse opted to take the play, the result of the play, which was not very good for Pitt. 2nd down. 2nd down and
Pitt was pretty clean last week in terms of penalties so far. A couple penalties on different formations. Takes a lot of focus on this offensive line spot.
Syracuse brings a little pressure. Pickett just picks it right up and finds his man. Finding DJ Turner. Nice pickup on 2nd down, but it will bring up a 3rd down. And here's a great opportunity, Mark, for Syracuse to get that defense off the field and put the offense right back out there.
Yeah, this is where Tony White's 3-3-5 defense will shine. Look for 3 guys down. A lot of linebackers, safeties around the ball. They're going to bring pressure from a lot of different places and really isolate their defensive backs in man-to-man on the back end.
Pickett trying to find his big tight end, Krull, and does. That's a 1st down.
And you see right there how Krull can be effective. That big body, 6'6", 270 pounds, able to just position himself between the ball and the defender. Kenny Pickett, you know, they have only been playing together for a little while, but they have a very good relationship, and was very excited to see that connection. Let's see if they continue to.
Hopefully he'll be all right. Culpepper with the touchdown pass, though, to put the Qs back on top. Now what can Pitt do? They're going to run the football and do it well. That's Davis giving him 9 yards.
Good job by this Pitt offensive line, just moving the defensive line of Syracuse sideways. It's key to this outside zone run scheme. You saw A.J. Davis just cut up field, pick up some good yards. And 2nd and 1's a down that you can do pretty much anything. Look for a possible shot in this scenario, because if it does fail, you know that you only have 1 yard to pick up on 3rd down, and the playbook's wide open.
Turner in motion. Big collision that time. That's Canton Arku. With the running back in the hole, but just enough for a first down for Pitt.
Canton Arku has a good start to this game. Really wasn't impressed with his physicality watching him against UNC, but it was obviously something that was pointed out on film because he has played much more physical and aggressive, at least up into this point in this game.
Pickett again back to throw. Underneath that pattern, Mark, just really seems to be open for this Pitt offense.
Yeah, and a lot of times you're given cushion on the outside with these cornerbacks because when you send two linebackers up the middle, you just don't want to get beat deep. So a quick out route, and that's just a sight adjustment by the wide receiver and the quarterback to get the ball on 2nd and 5.
Davis bangs his way for 4. It'll bring up 3rd down and short.
As a fan, sometimes this is boring football, right? 3 yards, 4 yards, just short chunks. But this is exactly what Mark Whipple wants to have happen. Slow and steady drive down the field. And then when you get in the red zone, they need to capitalize on touchdowns, which they were not good at last year.
Give to Davis again. Through the hole quickly. A 5-yard pickup gives the Panthers another first down. Thompson on the stop. What's interesting is that Pitt is starting to get this running game going, Mark, but now they also want to go quickly. They want to keep Syracuse on their heels. Orange bring 5. Pickett steps up, and he'll be dropped for a loss. Looked like he might have had a running lane, but that closed down quickly. Thompson was there again. 27's been all over the field for Syracuse. Have a flag on the play. We'll see what this amounts to, but check out 27 chasing down Pickett.
And again, he beat 2 blockers. First, he got around Jimmy Morrissey, their stud captain center. And then A.J. Davis, he beat that block to get back, take down Pickett for a short run.
Referee Jerry Magdalenas having a discussion with the other officials. Waiting for him on the flag. Thrown in the secondary.
Holding. Defense number 6. 10-yard penalty results in a first down.
Trill Williams guilty of the call. Dino shakes his head. There's Coach Whipple talking to Pickett. Let's see the replay.
Yeah, and you can't throw a guy on the ground. I mean, you're a physical defensive back. Trill Williams has got a lot of intangibles, but it is an easy throw of the flag for the referee when you see the wide receiver on the ground.
With that call, Pitt back in the red zone, 1st and 10. And Vincent Davis in motion in the backfield. He'll stay in to protect Pickett. Now flush, keeps his head up and throws it downfield, but A.J. Davis out of the backfield, just far too high over his head. And Pickett was just throwing that one away.
Good coverage on the back end by Syracuse defensively. They played right up press coverage on these wide receivers and were able to stay with them. And with a guy like Andre Cisco back there just in that rover position in the defense, it's so hard to throw the ball across the middle of the field. That's why you're seeing Kenny Pickett work outside so much. Good job right there by Garrett Williams, creating an incomplete pass.
And Garrett Williams, the redshirt freshman, talked to Tony White about him. He said 2nd, 3rd day in camp, he knew he was good enough to be a starter, and he is. Quick pass, and looked like Davis wasn't quite ready for it. If he had hauled it in, he might have been able to find the end zone.
Oh, you see the frustration out of Kenny Pickett. Another dropped pass. It seems like every single time over the past couple of years we've talked about Pittsburgh, we have noticed dropped passes. They led the country with 44 drop passes last year. And right now, they need to get a completion as they're coming back out on 3rd down and long due to that last drop by the running back.
Yeah, if you notice, Pickett went over and slapped 5 with Davis on the sideline before going back into trying to convert on this 3rd down play. Whistles before the play, and we may have a timeout here. Let's wait to hear from Magdalenas.
Before the snap, timeout was called Pittsburgh. Their first timeout of the half.
Panthers calling their first time out of the half to discuss things, and why not? 3rd and 10 in the red zone. Good time for it. We'll be back. Syracuse up 3. Pickett discussing things with Coach Whipple and Arduzzi. What they want to try here on 3rd and long.
Got to look for big target number 7, their tight end Lucas Kroll. He's lined up in the slot at the top of the field. Yep.
Could get another timeout.
My apologies. He was actually on the bottom, lined up at that wide receiver number 1 spot. This is where they like to isolate that big tight end and a jump ball in the red zone.
Timeout. Syracuse, their first time out of the half. 30-second timeout.
Yeah, Coach Babers and defensive coordinator Tony White saw how Pitt wanted to attack this 3rd down, and they called a timeout themselves. How impressive have you been so far with Syracuse? A defense that's been much maligned coming in. They hung tough last week at North Carolina until the 4th quarter, and they're hanging tough here.
Well, when you look at where they ended last year, they fired Brian Ward with a month left in their season because they knew they had the players. And what you're seeing right now is that defensive backfield with Trill Williams, Andre Sisco, Ifeatu Melifonwu, their ability to play solid coverage behind a blitz. You can allow those dink and dunk passes up front in front of you, but you can't get beat deep. And that is allowing that pressure to have a few more seconds to get to Kenny Pickett up front. I think it's a really good game plan and game calling so far by Tony White, but really good execution on the back end by the defensive backs for Syracuse.
There's a good look at Tony White in the middle of that huddle. Came from Arizona State last year as a Rocky Long disciple, bringing that 3-3-5 defense here to Syracuse. There's Andre Sisco, number 7, 13 career interceptions for Sisco. He's just a junior.
Yeah, just a junior. I mean, you know, I don't think he will probably play much more college football after this season. He could really play 3 more years, which is kind of insane to think about.
Right. No players losing eligibility this year if they choose to continue playing. Pickett on 3rd down. Flush to his left. It's going to be hard to find the marker, but he finally gets there. Now that was a nice little play short of the marker to Addison, and the young freshman shows his strength in being able to bull his way for a 12-yard gain and a 1st down.
Yeah, good job. You see the defender playing off, and you get the post route behind you. Just sit down and find the open window. And really, at that point, as a defensive back, it's up to you to attack the wide receiver, know where the yard to gain mark is. But great job by Jordan Addison, a true freshman, picking up the 1st down.
Addison now in motion, back out. Pickett will roll and try and find him. He does, but he's tackled immediately. And that's Sisco all over it.
I plan on seeing a lot more number 7 where 3 goes. Jordan Addison has gotten the bulk of the receptions last week and this week. And pretty soon they're just going to say, look, Andre, take him out of the game. Great tackle, short tackle by the 2-time preseason All-American Andre Sisco.
2nd down and goal for Pitt. Davis trying to plow his way into the end zone, gets down to the 1. It'll bring up 3rd down and goal. Sisco in on it again, as you can see.
Yeah, he's going to be everywhere for this defense. And 3rd and goal is interesting. When we looked at the offense last year from Pitt, they only ran the ball at 38% of the time when they were in the red zone. This is an obvious run situation. It'll be interesting to see if they keep the ball in Kenny Pickett's hands for a sneak or if they hand it to their running back behind their big lead blocking fullback.
Well, it's Vincent Davis now in the game, but Pickett's going to keep it himself. He scored a touchdown on the ground last week. Will he add one this week? He does. Pitt retakes the lead.
And Kenny Pickett, this goes again as he shotguns something, probably not what you'd think it would be, but as he gets out of the shotgun and runs right behind his big center, Jimmy Morrissey, he read that defensive front. If there was a gap at all in there, he was going to take the sneak. He probably had the option to hand it off on an ISO play, but good job and good experience by Kenny Pickett to read the D and get in for the touchdown.
Kessman adds the PAT, so just like Pittsburgh with the 14-10 lead right now, back and forth we go. Kelsey Riggs down on the field. Kels.
Yeah, guys, just wanted to add a little bit on Kenny Pickett. We've heard what Coach Narduzzi said this offseason, talking about how underrated he thinks his quarterback is. And Paris Ford echoed some of those same things when we talked to him. These defensive players know Kenny Pickett very well from going up against him. He said Kenny had the best camp this offseason. What stands out to him is his toughness, his knowledge, and mentally and physically what he's able to do. So not just the coach of this Pitt team that's impressed with their quarterback so far, but also the defensive guys.
See Pickett working on his flow. Kroll's helping him out with that.
Oh yeah. See, Chris, thank you for bringing it back to the flow. I like the flow he's got going on. A little sweat in the flow. And to me, it's not really that ugly right now. He's doing a pretty good job. Lucas Kroll will be proud.
Did you see Nick Patty, backup quarterback with the great mustache, having a word with him too? Good return by Jawar Jordan out beyond the 20. That's where Syracuse. DeVito continues to be on the sideline. He was hurt earlier in the game, and Culpepper came in and threw a touchdown pass. Culpepper staying in as Syracuse tries to find some room on the ground, and nothing doing for Jawar Jordan.
Culpepper's a pretty interesting guy. He comes from a very athletic family. His grandfather played football at Florida, was a captain of the Gators, and his father played as well. Played defensive tackle at Florida. 1991 consensus All-American. He was selected in the 10th round back when there were 10 rounds.
Yeah, 10 rounds.
In the NFL draft by the Vikings. But what I thought was interesting, his mom participated in Survivor. That's true guts.
Toughness. Whole family with toughness. Maybe some confusion on that route running there. It looked like Nakeem Johnson might have been the primary receiver, but Culpepper can't hook up with him. 3rd and 10 for the Orange. It's a dangerous spot right here, Mark. 4:14 left to go in this first half. If they go 3 and out and give the ball right back to Pickett, I don't think it's what they want, clearly.
No, it's not. And you remember, Pitt won the toss. They deferred to the second half. So if they can get it 2 for 1 at the end of this half and the beginning of the next half, could be real problematic for Syracuse. So this adds to the importance of this play on 3rd down.
Syracuse is 2 of 6 in converting 3rd downs. Culpepper's going to try to do it on his own, and not even close. Cam Bright was there. Several other Pitt Panthers were there to make the stop, and Syracuse now will be forced to punt.
It's two play calls that I don't like from this Syracuse offense. One was in the red zone when Culpepper came in initially, that quarterback draw, and then again on 3rd and 10, another quarterback draw. If you want your quarterbacks to drive the car until their wheels fall off, you got to at least give them a chance to do it.
Nolan Cooney back to punt for Syracuse. Addison back to receive it. Good punt from Cooney at his own 28. And good coverage. Addison dropped for a loss. That looked like Luke Benson, the backup tight end, on the tackle, and it was. So 3:16 remaining in this first half. Pitt up 14-10 thanks to Kenny Pickett doing it with his arm and with his legs.
Yeah, and he's been good. He's settled down after a first couple drops and then a fumble on the backwards lateral, but he has settled into his own, hit his plant foot on the back leg, followed through with his passes, ran the ball in for a touchdown, and finished it off with a nice glass of milk, it looked like, with Jimmy Morrissey, his center. They have that tradition they've been doing for a long time, and they hope they get many more of those after touchdowns this year.
2 team captains, Morrissey and Pickett in the battery, and tried to unload it in the screen to his running back, and eventually the ball was caught by Davis, but he takes a big loss on the play.
Yeah, if there's one area that I've seen Kenny Pickett struggle in today, is those little short dump offs to his running backs. Looks like that one might have even gotten tipped on the edge by Cody Roscoe, but he has not been accurate putting the ball in stride with his running back. Now they need to be more sure-handed and catch the ball the first time.
Here's Davis on the outside. Has a block out there on the outside. That's a nice pickup. Wasn't sure how far that one was going to be able to go, but before Ife Melifonwu made the tackle, Davis got about 15.
And you saw that last play, the lack of pursuit by Syracuse's defense. They're getting tired. Pitt's run 38 plays as opposed to Syracuse's 27 so far, and these guys seem to be sucking wind wearing orange.
Pickett on 3rd and 6, overthrows his receiver, got a flag down on the play.
Call might go against Fatu Melifonwu.
Pass interference, defense, number 2. Automatic first down.
Melifonwu was trying to petition the officials that this one was not catchable.
Yeah,
I
and
think he's probably right.
To me, I think he's right too. I mean, you could have possibly seen a little hand action with that left hand on the back of the wide receiver's jersey, but to me, you can't play that much cleaner. We saw Melifonwu make a really good play just like that against Daz Newsome last week against UNC. He's a very good man-to-man corner. Just got called for one on that.
Fresh set of downs now for Pickett and the Panthers. Syracuse brings 5. Again, Pickett tries underneath and can't connect. You have another flag down.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 27. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And Stephon Thompson this time got there late.
Oh, great move by Stephon. That's not a good call either in my book. He was on his way. He did not hit the quarterback with the crown of his helmet. Kind of drove through. Maybe maybe the last minute he got, fell down, but you're making the tackle. You're in stride on your way to the quarterback. I like the effort. To me, if I'm Dino Babers and I'm Tony White, when you look back at film, you say that was a very good hustle play. Maybe just let go at the end, but they're impressed with what they're seeing from Stephon Thompson, their true freshman, especially in the blitz game.
Look at Jalen Barden. Speaking of true freshman, Mark, he was shaking up a little on the play for Pitt.
Yeah, and they were impressed with him. He was a guy who, they didn't really see him getting a ton of playing time except for against Austin Peay when he went, and all he did was just take the top off the defense. He's got elite speed. Let's see if he returns back to the game.
Moments ago, it was 3rd and 6 for Pitt deep in their own territory. Now they've moved into Syracuse territory with hardly a tick off the clock. Pickett now flushed. This time he gets it to his receiver in a good spot. But a nice tackle by Trill Williams coming up and limiting Pitt to just a couple of yards. It's Todd Sibley Jr. in the game for the Panthers. They continue to rotate backs, moving quickly now under 2 minutes. Sibley bounces it outside. No, that's Vernon Davis. Vincent Davis, excuse me. Picks up about 4.
I bet they wish they had Vernon Davis on the team.
Vernon would be a little bit bigger than Vincent. Maybe 2 Vincents would make one fight.
But right here, 3rd and 4, we talked about that double score opportunity for Pitt before the half and then right after the half. Huge play for Syracuse if they can get Kenny Pickett and this Pittsburgh team to settle for a long field goal.
Now Davis flanks to the outside. Pickett batted down on 3rd down, and that'll bring up 4th down. Now what do you do here? You got a kicker that can kick it a mile. It would be about a 54-yard kick if they went for the field goal.
Looks like they're keeping up. Kenny Pickett's talking to Mark Whipple. Same coach.
And we made mention just a moment ago, Alex Kessman 0 for 2 so far this year kicking field goals. Yeah,
and this is taking a long time right now for him to make this decision. Looks like they're sending Pickett back out onto the field. This is right in that no man's land where it's a very long field goal. You got to convert here. You're going to get some momentum to Syracuse offensively going into the half.
Pickett with Addison in motion. Flags down. Pickett to the sideline. And the catch is good. Jacques Louis made the grab on the sideline. Let's check the flag. It looked like Pickett thought he might have had a free play. Let's see if that's the case.
Oh, man. It did look like that. It looked like a defensive tackle jumped over the line of scrimmage before the ball was snapped.
There are two fouls on the play. Offside, number 42 defense is declined. Pass interference, defense number 14 also declined. The result of the play is accepted. First down.
There's Terrell Richards. He's been banged up a little bit earlier this year. Good to see him in there. Garrett Williams was guilty of pass interference. Nice concentration by Shockey Jacques-Louis to make the catch.
Yeah, and you don't see much in terms of pass interference from that angle. It must have happened before at the top of the route, but as you said, great concentration, went down for a first down.
Pickett with the pump fake goes underneath. Addison makes the catch, but they'll lose yardage on that play. Jahad Carter on the stop for Syracuse.
Clock's running. Pitt has 2 timeouts left. It's not in a real rush situation right now, but they do want to pick up a couple chunk yards here, especially over the middle of the field, to loosen up Syracuse side to side.
Syracuse comes with pressure. Pickett initially dropped it, but he was able to fall on it. Richards was there for the sack, and 2 big negative plays by this Syracuse defense now has Pitt in trouble with the clock winding down.
Timeout called. Pitt.
Well, if you want to do
out of the half.
anything but this, right? Anything but take a sack, possibly get out of field goal range, put yourself in a third and very long situation. And right now, depending upon how comfortable they're feeling with Alex Kessman, you'll see the play calling differentiate, whether they try to just pick up a few yards or whether they want to create a 4th and manageable for Kenny Pickett in this offense.
3rd and 18 now for Coach Whipple. What are you drawing up here? To your point, Mark, you wouldn't need to get all 18 of them back to get a good field goal opportunity.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to even try to get the full 18 regardless. 18 yards is almost ridiculous to pick up in 1 down of football. But even if you're going to go for it on 4th and down, you want it to at least be a 4th and 4. So that way you can have that option for Kenny Pickett to pull the ball down and run if nothing's open.
There you see Alex Kessman. The longest field goal ever kicked in this stadium, Heinz Field, was off of his toe. Not off the toe of one of the Pittsburgh Steelers kickers, 55 yards. So 3rd and 18 with 39 seconds remaining. Pickett, pressure coming, gets it to Addison. What can he do on his own? Not much. Nice play by Trill Williams to bring him down.
Great play by Trill Williams. Knowing that that ball needs to come out fast with the pressure up front, Trill Williams played flat-footed, let the ball come to him. Big tackle, and it's not easy to tackle number 3 Jordan Addison. But again, 4th and 12, Kenny Pickett still out on the field.
Looks like they're going to run this clock down and give their kicker one final shot at the end of the half. Timeout by Pitt with 2 seconds left to go until the break. Kessman will trot out. He has 8 50-yard field goals to his credit of the 20 that have been kicked in Pitt history.
Game clock to 3 seconds.
He's got a big leg, but he missed a 37-yarder already today, and he missed his only field goal attempt last week.
And that's the type of thing that can get into your head as a kicker. And we talked to Narduzzi about, what does he say to kickers after they, miss like that? He said, really, to a guy like Kessman, you don't say much. He knows what he's doing, and he knows when he's doing it wrong. We'll see if he's able to correct it here, but too many in a row. I mean, we've seen it throughout the NFL over the years, throughout college football. That can get in a kicker's head. Kind of like when I'm out in the golf course, and I try to chip, and I just dunk it right in the sand trap over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. Water too, trying to carry water.
Yeah,
the worst.
Forget about it.
Kessman will come in, the 4-year starter, to attempt a field goal at the end of the half. This one's going to be about 46 yards. Officially 46 yards. He's got the leg for it. This time from the left hash mark, missed from the right earlier. Bobble the hold, and Pitt's going to have to try and make something happen, and they cannot. So a big win for Syracuse to end the first half. And Pitt coming in ranked 25th in the country, coming off a big win in their opener.
Free.
Yeah, both DeVito and Culpepper were warming up before this kick right here, as we're underway here in the second half from Pittsburgh. Addison just lets it go out the back of the end zone. Kelsey Riggs is on the field. Kels?
Guys, no injury update for you on Syracuse's Tommy DeVito, unfortunately. What I can tell you is he did run out of the tunnel with his helmet on, so we'll see if they go with Rex or if they go with Tommy DeVito. But as you mentioned, a fifth-year, and guys, they say he's a really interesting player.
Yeah, I know you can empathize with his plight there, Mark. Being a cancer survivor yourself, great to see him here in action today.
Yeah, and it really is, and I'm sure just from reading articles and hearing people talk about his fight and his journey, his support from his teammates must have been so immense during that time. He had a very good relationship with former quarterback Dungy, who reached out to him a lot during his cancer treatments, and great to see him back and healthy and playing the game that he loves.
Pickett misfiring on first down, finding Addison on second. There you see the Rex Strong armbands, wristbands, signing autographs for kids. Best thing on that whole entire graphic right there was cancer-free since 2018. And we'll see if we get an opportunity to see him at quarterback for Syracuse. Right now, Pickett trying to convert a third down. Running for his life. Can't connect, so a big 3 and out for the Syracuse defense to start the second half.
As Mikel Jones applying the pressure. Another one of the young linebackers. Not a lot of size really at that linebacker spot, but they are fast. Good job maintaining that inside-out pursuit, and that's a 3 and out to start this drive. We talked about the ability for Pitt to finish the half with a score and then come back and get a score at the beginning of the second half. Syracuse defense stopped both of those attempts, holding him to 0 points.
Here's Johnson trying to wiggle his way out of a tackle, gets it to the 34. Let's check on the laundry. Jerry Magallanes, our referee for the day, masked up. Only when it is essential to communicate does he take the mask down. Illegal procedure against Pitt. Illegal block in the back against Syracuse. Looks like we'll repunt this one.
There are 2 fouls on the play, 1 by each team. 5 players in the backfield. Return, illegal block in the back. 15 return team. Those penalties will offset 4th down. Correction.
Another opportunity to force a repunt.
Number 19.
We saw what happened the first time Pitt had to punt for a second time. Big return by Nykeem Johnson.
A good point. Definitely helped their field position on that transaction. Let's see how it does this time. Chris Didulo, good punter for Pitt. Young man junior out of Melbourne, Australia. Keeping that pipeline going. 3-year starter. Chris Didulo puts a foot into it. It's a good kick. Out of bounds. Another flag down.
Yeah, they're going to be roughing the punter. So his plant foot got hit.
Holding his hip.
Oh boy.
That's Drew Tauzama who got in there on him.
There's no foul for roughing the kicker. The punter carried the ball outside the tackle box.
Well, Tauzama escaped that penalty, which is good for him. He got called. He was the one who got called for the illegal block in the back last week. There took back a touchdown score and a big return. Got lucky on that one, but good call by the officials picking up that flag.
Chris Didulo with just a 36-yard punt out of bounds. And back in at that quarterback spot, Tommy DeVito for Syracuse. Shaken up in the first half. Rex Culpepper had to come in through the touchdown pass, but DeVito is back. Quick handoff up the middle. That's Jawar Jordan. Good gain of almost 5 yards on first down. Give him 4. Any positive yards for Syracuse allows them to speed things up offensively. And here comes Jordan right up the middle. Tripped up by Hamlin, but not before he picks up a first down.
Really good job by the offensive line picking up a run pressure. And you saw on the left side of the line of scrimmage, number 63, Chris Elmore, got that long hair sticking out of the back of his jersey. He's the guy who's just playing guard for the first time. Really was a tight end / D end before. Good block, springing the runner free.
Harris had no shot to be sprung free on that play. Cam Bright's been all over the field for Pitt this afternoon. He led a whole host of Panthers to stop Taj Harris for a loss.
Yeah, Cam Bright's a guy, he's not the biggest linebacker, but he is very fast and a sure tackler. He missed so few tackles last year. I had him on my board every single week. I wanted to just see the number of missed tackles he had, and it remained very low throughout the entire season.
Jordan again up the middle. That play seems to be working a little bit, paying dividends for Syracuse. You'll get a solid pickup on second down, but it will bring up 3rd and long.
And you're seeing a lot of these up the middle runs lean towards that left side of the line of scrimmage. Again, Chris Elmore, they call him Rhino. A lot of questions about his ability to move guys off the ball. Only 288 pounds. We say only 288 pounds because he played tight end before, but good job up there picking up yards for his running back.
On 3rd down, Pitt comes with pressure, flushing DeVito out. Stays on his feet. Now he'll have to do it with his legs, but he has some room. Comes up about 3 yards short. Paris Ford came up from his safety spot to make the tackle. DeVito unhappy with himself because he thought he might have been able to pick it up.
Well, Pitt brought pressure. Paris Ford was, well, it wasn't Paris Ford. We had
Cam Bright almost had a handful there
in the backfield. But you saw Tommy DeVito looked pretty healthy on that last scramble. I don't think his legs bother him too much anymore. But 4th down and 3. Gosh, huge play here. It really could be a momentum swinging play either way. Get the ball off fast. Only 7 seconds on the play clock.
DeVito has Jamar Jordan in the backfield. Pressure coming off the edge. DeVito's going to go down. Pitt will take over at midfield. There's Rashad Weaver.
Welcome back, Mr. Weaver. Missed the entire season last year with a knee injury. He had to sit out. They said it was so difficult even practicing with him. But welcome back, Rashad Weaver. Big sack, forcing Syracuse to punt.
They give to Vincent Davis. Tries to cut it back. Not much there. Picks up 3 before Jeff Canton-Arku makes the stop.
I've really been impressed with what Syracuse has done defensively to start this half. Really good job forcing 3 and outs, getting the ball back to their offense. You got to continue to do that, especially when your offense is not firing on all cylinders. Give them more and more opportunities because you never know when Taj Harris is going to break another one down the sideline.
I formation. Pickett back to pass on play action. Has a receiver. Couldn't quite hook up. He was going for his tight end, Lucas Krull. Jahad Carter was there on coverage.
And he had him. He had him streaking across the field and beating the defender. That's a missed ball by Kenny Pickett. You got to put that out in front of your big tight end. Now again, 3rd and 7 already. Big 3rd down. Need to convert. Watch as he throws this ball. Just isn't able to put it out in front of his tight end. But 3rd down.
Little bubble screen. Jacques Louis wiggling his way out of tackles, but not enough for the first down. It'll bring up 4th and 4. So now Pitt in a very similar situation to where Syracuse was just moments ago.
Yeah, and the only difference right now is that you're in that territory where you could kick it with that long field goal of Kessman. But again, okay, we're going for it on 4th down. Another huge momentum play either side of the ball. See if Syracuse brings pressure like they did last time.
They do. It's picked up And Pickett can't find Krull, but we have a flag thrown on Garrett Williams.
Pass interference. Defense number 14. Spot foul. Automatic first down.
Taking another look, is again, it must have happened at some other point, because
well, he gets that right leg.
Yeah, maybe that. Yeah, to me, it's a tough call, but that's one where you just want to let football players play football. Again, I'm a defensive guy, so I err on the side of the defender.
Fourth penalty of the day by Syracuse, leading to a first down by Pitt. So keeping these drives alive. Vincent Davis isn't going anywhere. Terrell Richards puts a stop to that.
Yeah, Terrell Richards, the guy we've seen a lot of today. He didn't play at all in first week, but he's a big linebacker at that backup middle linebacker spot. They've gotten him in a lot on those early rundowns. 6'4", 235. We've seen him up in the line of scrimmage a lot, playing like an extra defensive end.
Pickett now under center. Addison in motion on the jet sweep. Gets a block on the outside. Good block and a good hole to run through. And Addison picks up another first down.
Great blocking on the point of attack by the wide receivers. And you see as Addison comes around the corner, he finds that crease where Shockey Jacques-Louis had pinned Terrell Richards inside. Good job finding that, and that's a point of emphasis from Mark Whipple. Wanted his receivers to block better on the outside to get more yards per rush, and those big ones will break eventually.
Again, Pickett under center. Addison now in motion the other way. Give to Vincent Davis. Little crease, but couldn't get through it. Give him 2 yards before Canton Arku again there to make the stop.
Well, Syracuse defensively is definitely making Pitt work for these first downs and work for every single yard. Doing a good job of not letting any big plays take place. When you funnel everything back inside, you can let that pursuit happen. And good knockback up front by this defensive line.
Now Pickett in the gun. Pressure coming up the middle. Picked off. Intercepted by Jones, and he takes it out to the 29. Mikel Jones gets the ball back to Syracuse.
Huge play by Mikel Jones. Read where they're going on their offensive side right here.
DeVito with the quick handoff to Jordan. Give him 3 on the play before Chase Pine brings him down. Jordan has been the primary ball carrier for the Orange today. We saw a little of Sean Tucker earlier. Markenzie Pierre maybe on a drive. But Jawar Jordan out of Farmingdale, New York, he has been the bell cow. Gets it again here, bounces it outside, shows that speed and quickness. And finishes the run, too, for the first down.
Really good job by Jawar Jordan. Remember, the 2 top running backs from last year, Abdul Adams and Jarvion Howard, opted out. So these guys are getting a lot of playing time that they didn't necessarily expect. Jordan is running very, very hard so far, especially in this half.
Sebastian Dennis just got a shoelace on him that time. Brought him down, brought him out of his shoe. And you're right about, Abdul Adams, the transfer from Oklahoma. So much was expected of him and Jarvion Howard, both with a lot of experience. And just before the season started, lo and behold, your top 2 backs gone. Big blow.
Yeah, huge. And, I think when you look at this right now, they only have 45 rushing yards on the ground, but they're sticking with that rush, try to open up something downfield.
That'll add to downfield, yeah.
That'll add to it. Tommy DeVito is so effective when he does pull the ball down and run, and that's why Sterling Gilbert and Dino Babers are, they're so willing to go in that 5-wide empty look, because the run option out of that really is Tommy DeVito using his legs like he did there to pick up a first down.
Into Pitt territory, Jordan bounces it outside, but a nice tackle by Jones.
Yeah, great tackle by Jones. We haven't called his name a ton so far in this game, but he's a guy who comes in. He's a fifth-year senior. He started last year, 5th on the depth chart. You know, we've talked about all the players who missed on that defensive line last year, and he stepped up. 8.5 sacks, 18 quarterback hits. Big tackle for loss on that play.
On the flip out to Tucker. Back inside. Good gain on 2nd down. He's going to pick up another 1st down. The Orange now running the football. Great play. Made guys miss. And these aren't just anybody. You know, he's making guys miss that have a lot of experience on this team. Got Paris Ford to overrun the football. Leaning forward, finishing the run. Great job by him. And trying to go quickly this time. Runs into a wall of Panthers. He'll lose a yard. Positive drive for Syracuse, though, keeping that ball away from Kenny Pickett and that Pitt offense after the turnover. Clock winding inside of 5 minutes in this 3rd quarter.
Right now, defensively for Pitt, you've been on the field a lot in this 2nd half. Really important to make it 3rd and long here.
DeVito trying to go up top to Harris. Falls incomplete. Jason Pinnock with the coverage.
Great coverage by Pinnock. We saw him get beat earlier, although, as we heard from Narduzzi going into halftime, it was more of a safety issue on that big, long touchdown pass. But this 3rd and long, surprised to see Taj Harris on the sidelines. He's really their big play threat. But especially in this area, as they try to pick up enough to get into field goal range, possibly look for screen passes or maybe even a draw play if Pitt drops back in coverage.
9th play of this drive for Syracuse. Pressure coming on the edge, trying to find a screen, and that ball was picked off. Intercepted by Paris Ford. Read it right, came up and made the pick, and Pitt will take over.
Well, Paris Ford has studied his film and understands the game situation in that formation. By Paris Ford. He's been a guy who's been so good in stopping the run and was focusing on getting more turnovers this year. And that focus is paying off, as he has 2 so far in this season. Only 3 total all of last year. But he's a guy who's on All-American watch lists and all ACC preseason teams. He also chose to come back and play this year after one of his good buddies, Jalen Twyman, decided to opt out earlier in the spring.
Saw Todd Sibley Jr. there, the young man at Akron, with the Wildcat carry. Now the hand spinning move by Vincent Davis. Picks up a 1st down. Another flag on the play. Let's take a look at the replay.
Great block. Look at number 71, Bryce Hargrove, come around and pin the Syracuse defense. Good job by Vincent Davis extending the play, getting a few more yards than that were blocked. That's what Pat Narduzzi talked about. If the offensive line blocks 4, we need to get 8.
The result of the play is a 1st down. After the play, personal foul, number 71 offense. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
That one was against Bryce Hargrove. He sang his praises maybe too early there, Mark.
Yeah, sure did. Right after he got off screen, he must have done something crazy. He's an experienced guy, a 5th-year senior. They loved having him come back and being right next to Jimmy Morrissey, another 5th-year senior. This offensive line, they were very high on them coming into this year. Good play initially, but
dead ball after the run, so Vincent Davis was able to pick up a 1st down. Then they'll march off the penalty yardage, so it is still 1st down and 10. Let's take a look at that last play and what happened.
See him tied up with a defender. Yeah, he's tied up with a defender, and he's getting driven back. Actually, that's a good job by Jeff Cantonarcu, who he was tied up with. Just kept playing until the whistle. Got Bryce Hargrove a little bit frustrated. Threw him to the ground.
See, as a defensive guy, that's why you're saying that was a penalty. I don't know. That just seems to me like 2 guys that were wrestling to the penalty, to the whistle. Pickett with the screen. This is going to go for a 1st down and a lot more. Again, Vincent Davis. Picking it up before Trill Williams is able to bring him down, but a big gain for Pitt.
Yeah, good to see Vincent Davis catch one of these. He dropped that first one in the first half that resulted in a fumble, caught this one, and once he's able to get his vision upfield and his shoulder pads square to the line of scrimmage, he can make a lot of guys miss.
Now Pitt back in Syracuse territory. Pickett's going to run. He's got room. First down and a lot more. Inside the 30 before he goes down at the 28. And another flag.
Holding. Offense, number 53. 10-yard penalty, first down.
This time it's Jake Cradle. And Mark, we've been talking about this all game long. Pitt played such a clean game in their opener, and yes, it was against an overmatched Austin Peay team, but penalties, turnovers, missed field goals, and bad holds on field goal attempts. This game has been far from clean for Pitt like they were in their opener.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, those pre-snap penalties, but then it hurt you. But the penalties that happen when you have long games just like that, that's the thing that you take a deep breath and you just try to regroup. But they are so devastating to your drive and the ability to pick up first downs and extend it.
Pickett completes for the first time to Jared Wayne. First time we've mentioned the name of Jared Wayne. Sophomore out of Peterborough, Canada. A few Canadians on both of these teams because of their proximity to our neighbors to the north. Second and long for Pitt. Pickett again to throw. Plenty of time over the middle. Complete. Again to Wayne. Makes a man miss. Dropped to the 24.
Great pocket, great protection up front by those big boys, giving Kenny Pickett a spot to step up in the pocket. And when he is able to step up, that's when you see the accuracy. Put the ball on the back shoulder of his wide receiver on purpose. When you have that stop route, you put it on the shoulder to let the receiver know which way to turn to avoid a hit.
Davis with the screen. 20. Stays in bounds. Now, I know you love that, Mark. Here's a 175-pound back. Could have gone out of bounds there, but he opted to stay in bounds and try and pick up an extra yard or two.
Yeah, and when we talked to Coach Narduzzi, we said, yo, do you have any special packages for certain guys? And he said, you might see Vince Davis in the heavy package. I said, heavy package? The dude's only 175. But he runs like he's in the heavy package. You saw it there. Lots of Syracuse Orange take him down.
Pick it over the middle and a touchdown to Wayne. Well, we didn't mention Wayne's name all game long, and he makes 3 catches on this drive, including the finisher.
Wow. All right. Welcome back, Mr. Wayne. Perfect throw inside the defender, and you see him, you know, not working against a slob. He was working against Andre Cisco, just beat him over the top and worked back in towards the goalpost. Great job by Kenny Pickett finding him. But how about Jared Wayne? You know, just when we think you stopped a couple of these wide receivers or these top targets for Kenny Pickett, another one shines, and Jared Wayne was that one on this drive.
Kessman with the PAT. It's good. Pickett with now 6,000+ career passing yards and his second touchdown of the day. This time he finds the Canadian over the middle.
Very sure about his throws. And you see, it's interesting, you see that white glove on his hand. He started throwing with a glove on his hand this year, and he feels like he's more accurate with it. He can get more velocity on the ball and more spin. And admittedly, Pat Narduzzi wasn't so sure about it in the beginning, but then when he saw how he could actually sling the ball, it just adds to Kenny Pickett's confidence. And you see that confident throw there to his big wide receiver. And again, we're playing a Pitt offense that does not have Taysir Mack dressed. He has been out for the last 2 weeks, their go-to target, but Kenny Pickett has produced some good numbers regardless of his stud being on the bench.
There you see Pickett's numbers on the day. Another solid outing. Giving Pitt their largest lead of the afternoon, 11 in the final minute of the third quarter.
Really was an up and down third quarter. Lots of sloppy play, turnovers, misses on 4th downs, but see if Pitt looks like they've settled in a little bit. Let's see if Syracuse can put together a drive here of their own.
And they're going to have to put that drive together from their own 14 as Johnson is dropped by John Petroshin. Tomorrow we'll have a women's soccer quadruple header for you.
Paul said that once the play starts, they're locked in, you don't notice it. But let me tell you, when you actually do notice it, it's when they score a touchdown, because it gets a little awkward. What do? There's no one cheering. You see them just run over to their teammates, as Jared Wayne did there. But I can attest to it, standing here on the front row, watching the game, guys, I really don't notice how empty it is until those few moments when something like that happens, and all you hear is this Pitt sideline cheering and no one else.
Yeah, we did the game last weekend, Kelson. After the game, the players and coaches went over to serenade the students section like they do after every game, and there was no one there. They sang the alma mater and the fight song, and they were waving to people in the empty students section. It's great. Syracuse feeling the pressure and getting off to the type of a drive they did not need after Pitt just got their biggest lead of the afternoon. Now it's 3rd and 10 for Tommy DeVito, who again is getting up slowly after Keyshawn Camp put the pressure on.
Yeah, we talked about Rashad Weaver earlier missing and mentioned Keyshawn Camp, but he's in that D tackle position that which was vacated by Jalen Twyman, would have played next to him. But having Keyshawn Camp, big boy, in there up front is so effective for the run game. But what the coaches said was that he is really most effective getting skinny. Hard for a big guy like that to get skinny, but get skinny and quick twitch the quarterback.
Syracuse struggling on 3rd down, and they won't pick this one up. Now just 2 for 10 on the day as Mackenzie Pierre is dropped for a short gain. 3rd quarter now will come to a close with Syracuse facing a 4th and 10 deep in their own territory. First to pick, Paris Ford, doing what a leader in the backfield should do, getting it back to his offense, and the dunk.
During that break, as they played Sweet Caroline, and it felt like a karaoke contest. You could hear the players singing. They still have the words on the board. And Cutter, I'm told you were singing too.
I was not. Well, I might not have been singing Sweet Caroline as Addison makes the fair catch. I was singing We Are Family, because I believe that that's what they should be playing. That's a Pittsburgh thing, an ode to the Pirates and their '79 World Series championship. Sweet Caroline is a Boston thing, right? I mean,
yes.
Mark, you know Boston. You played your college ball there.
Yes, that's a Red Sox thing, and I feel like we could adopt it at Boston College a little bit. But again, it's a great song. It's one of those songs that you just love when it hits the oh. But the only person doing that in the stands is Kelsey Riggs, so not as effective.
We're going to see if we can get Kelsey
to be
sing
honest,
We Are
it actually
Family.
reminds me, Chris, you're not going to get me to sing, but it does. It actually reminds me of Carolina. Growing up in Carolina, they play that at Panthers games, so we're all over the place with this song.
Right.
Which is even
probably making a lot of Pitt
because
people mad saying that.
Everybody's co-opted it. I think Pitt people would love to hear We Are Family. Maybe it's too old school. I don't know. They wouldn't appreciate it as much. Right now, Pitt fans would like to see the Panthers run a little clock here and get this running game going, not just for today in terms of salting away this win, but also, Mark, for future reference in terms of the way the season is playing out. They're going to have to be able to run the football better than they did last year.
Yeah, they were not effective at all on the ground game last year. And so far, at least there has been a consistent effort to get that game going with the plays being called. But when you have missed assignments like you've seen on these past couple runs and guys running free to the running back, you almost forced your hand into the short dink and dunk passes, or else you're going to be left at 3rd and 10. And I mean, there is a significant lead right now, but 11 points is one that just, it's kind of a mental challenge for this offense, because one score by the opposition and they're right back in it. So this is a huge play for Kenny Pickett in this offense.
Big 3rd down and 10 for Pitt. Pickett is back to pass. And the drop. Krull had the 1st down and couldn't bring it in.
Wow. Drop passes again. This is a guy who did not get that warm-up game against Austin Peay, Lucas Krull. So excited and so enthusiastic about what they were going to get from him besides the hair. That was a big drop. I know he's going to be kicking himself over that.
Syracuse staying alive. Akeem Johnson back to receive the Christodoulou punt. Calls for a fair catch at his own 19.
All together to support teachers across the country. Thanks to the College Football Playoff Foundation, ESPN is honored to donate $20,000 this week to help support teachers and their students. To learn more about it, visit Extra Yard for Teachers and follow at College Football Extra Yard. And while we're talking, Chris and Mark, about school and teachers, Pitt doing something very unique in the fight against social injustice. Pitt students and faculty developed a required 1-credit class at Pittsburgh that all first-year freshmen have to take, called Anti-Black Racism: History, the Ideology, and Resistance. It's beginning this fall. Pretty cool thing that Pitt's doing, unique to maybe some other schools and campuses. And I'm actually told that 55 players from this Pitt roster are actually enrolled. So not just freshmen, some of the upperclassmen also taking the initiative to try and learn and educate themselves more.
Thank you, Kels. Appreciate that. 3rd down and 11. Fumble on the play. And Pitt's going to pick it up. Big turnover here in the 4th quarter. Syracuse wasn't going to convert on that 1st down, but now the ball is back in the Pitt Panthers' hands and a flag late.
Oh, man, and a great job by Deslin Alexander to come up with that football.
It's a fumble recovered by the defense. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 5, Pittsburgh, his first of the game. 15-yard penalty. It will be 1st and 10, Pitt.
Yeah, and it looks like he spun the ball or spiked the ball or did something with it right in front of the official. As he recovers it, and it looks like it was just ran into his own.
Yeah, he did.
Own blocker, fumbled the ball. And right there, put the ball on the ground.
He knew he was in trouble, too, as soon as that flag came out. Oh, no, now I got to go to the sideline after making a great play, and I'm going to get yelled at by the coaches.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, and, you know, they're going to get the ball. And it looks like, you know, Pat Narduzzi's talking to the officials, trying to understand what the flag was. But the officials are reviewing right now whether it actually was a fumble or not, you know, being that the ball came out right in the middle of the line of scrimmage. And as Jordan gets in here, it does look like the ball pops out as he runs into the back of Aaron Serveus.
Yeah, I think that ball's out, Mark.
Yeah, right here.
It could have been his elbow, though. That's you know, that's what they're looking at.
Right.
That's what the replay official, Tom DeJoseph, is looking at.
Yeah, and on a second look, it didn't necessarily come out as he hit the player, but at what point on his way to the ground does the ball come loose? And remember, it's ruled a fumble on the field, so there has to be clear visual evidence of some part of his body touching the ground.
Other than his feet or hands. The elbow, that right elbow, if it's still in his hand, in his arms, when that right elbow hits and that causes the fumble, then that'll be down at that spot.
It'll be really interesting to see if that is the case.
After further review, the ruling on the field of the fumble is confirmed. 1st down, Pitt.
Confirmed by Tom DeJoseph, our replay official, that it came out before his elbow hit the ground. Pitt ball.
So it kind of saves Deslin Alexander, too, because that penalty would have stood if Syracuse had retained the football. Got away with one a little bit. But now Kenny Pickett in this 4th quarter has a chance to put his team up by 3 scores. Could really start to seal this one.
Pickett with Vincent Davis in the backfield. Jet sweep to Addison again. Has Davis in front of him blocking, but nowhere for Addison to go, as he gets brought down by Stephon Thompson, the true freshman, again on the tackle.
Again, good job on Syracuse on 1st down. And very successful, forcing 2nd and long, 3rd and longs.
Turner Quick pass out in the flat, and he picks up maybe 2. Trill Williams was there for the stop. Now 3rd down for Pitt. That Syracuse defense is just keeping this team in the game.
They really are. And we talked about them not giving Pickett anything easy. Also, there haven't been a lot of shots by Kenny Pickett in the second half. He hasn't tried to stress the defense vertically to try to open up some of these underneath routes. Look for someone coming out of that bunch set to spring free towards the sideline.
Big 3rd down for this defense. They bring 4. Pickett stepping up. Underneath to Wayne, and nice tackle that time by Melifonwu. Prevents him from getting the yardage necessary for the 1st down.
Fantastic tackle by Melifonwu. I can't stress that enough, how difficult it is to take the proper angle on a wide receiver coming across the field. Really good job of maintaining his stride and tackling that leg. Big 4th down decision.
Opting for the field goal try here with Kessman. This one will be 45 yards. Snap hold is good this time around, and Kessman buries it. No good.
No,
wide
went
left.
Outside.
So Kessman misses for the 2nd time today in the 3rd field.
6 to 60-something score, though.
Well, right now Syracuse doesn't need anything that high, but they need to get something going offensively because their defense is keeping them in the game despite turnovers and putting themselves in difficult spots. Now Syracuse has got to get something going here offensively. They had the 76-yard touchdown pass in the 1st half. Other than that, they haven't had much going. Maybe 100 yards total offense in addition to that one big play. DeVito now fakes the pitch. He's going to keep it, but gets dragged down from behind. Jones was there for the stop. What do you think the answer is, Mark? Let's give it to
Felt like it was just an absolute shootout. As a defender, I was cringing a lot of times.
I'm sure these 2 coaches were as well. Well, Babers maybe not. Narduzzi was for sure. Big sack again. That's number 7 on the day. And this time Morgan bringing the quarterback down. So that Pitt Panther defense, when they get the opportunity to put their ears back, they do. And another sack brings them 7 today. And last week they had 3. Last year, 51 on the season. That was the 6th most in school history. They will get after the quarterback.
Wow, they sure will. Well, we hit my over-under mark at 7
total.
But I think the interesting part is it hasn't come from a lot of the guys that maybe we thought. Kalijah Cansey had a couple early. John Morgan used his speed off the edge. But you see the depth of that defensive line for Pittsburgh. So many guys are recording stats in the sack department. It's like a flag down. Other special teams flag.
Personal foul, leaping, number 11 defense. 15-yard penalty.
Back with Syracuse and Pittsburgh. Syracuse on 1st down. Ran Gerard Jordan on a loss for 2, so it's now 2nd down and 12.
Big stop by Rashad Weaver. He got in the backfield again for that TFL.
You see Rex
Look who's that
quarterback.
Yeah. Culpepper.
Trying to find some magic here with Culpepper. Too far for Quealy. Hamlin on the coverage, so now again 3rd and long. We've said that a lot this afternoon, especially here in the 2nd half, Mark.
Yeah, we have, and they just haven't been able to find a rhythm on 1st and 2nd down. But you know, I don't know whether you see Rex Culpepper in there because DeVito has been banged up, but I mean, you saw the confidence in that last throw by Culpepper. I mean, he can sling it out there. Maybe gives them the best chance through the air.
Has to get rid of it in a hurry. Does. Quealy makes the catch, but well shy of a 1st down.
And that's fine. You know, this is 4-down territory right now. They need to get a 1st down. So a quick pass to set up a 4th and short is all right. And again, 4th and 6, Culpepper can do it through the air, or if he sees a crack in the offensive line. Oh, but it looks like they're punting anyways. I thought it might be 4-down territory for Syracuse, just because they haven't gotten much momentum going, but they're going to punt it away and rely on their defense that has made it hard for Pitt.
Nolan Cooney coming out to punt it away for Syracuse.
Try to get the snap off.
They just do. Addison awaiting the punt. He'll let it bounce. Great punt and coverage by the Orange. So Pitt will have to take over from their own 5 when we come back, up 11. Their first win in ACC action this afternoon, up 21-10 in the 4th quarter. Kenny Pickett and company going to start from their own 6-yard line. So if there was ever an opportunity for Syracuse to bow up here and get the ball back to their offense, they're just going to have to do it right now. Davis trying to find room to run. Nothing doing. Another big play by Canton Arku.
And bow up they did. Pitt comes out in these heavy formations where they kick an extra offensive lineman over and run behind it. And a lot of times what it does is point an arrow to the defense at where you're going to run the ball. And they just dare you to stop them. Good job by Syracuse up front to stop them for a loss on that play. Again, as you talked about, Canton Arku, really good game so far. It's only his 2nd game starting. Unbalanced to the top of your screen. A lot of times
Pickett was going to go under center. He calls timeout.
Timeout. Pitt.
All right, this is just the first of 3 games here on the ACC. It's pretty scary. Davis met. Give him about 2 yards again, so a huge 3rd down for the Syracuse defense right now.
The importance of this 3rd down, it can't be stated enough how much this team needs good field position in order to score. I mean, they haven't been able to drive the length of the field this entire game, but when opportunistic, they have been able to get points on the board. So if they can force a punt here and get good field position for whichever quarterback comes out, it'd be a huge win.
Pickett steps up. He's going to take it himself, and he'll just run out of bounds. Kel Jones runs him out, so Kirk Christodoulou, the punter here for Pitt, is going to have to put his foot into it and drive the Orange back.
Mark Whipple has had some very, very conservative play calling in this 4th quarter. And really, I would have liked to see him try to take more shots downfield. I mean, you have a lead, but you want to extend it. And if you have that much faith in your quarterback, Kenny Pickett, give him the opportunity to put this football game away.
Johnson from his 47. Makes a couple of men miss. Now inside the 40. Stood up hard at about the 38, but that'll be great field position for Syracuse when we come back. Down 11, but with an opportunity here to...
Of 2 assistant coaches have actually been tested to see if they could be potentially donors. Now, Kavanaugh got emotional talking to me about it, saying it just blows you away that someone would care that much to do something like that. I also spoke to Coach's wife, Lori. She told me it's just an emotional roller coaster waiting, but sometimes you get lucky with good people in your life. And get this, back in 2007, when she needed a kidney the first time, they got lucky with some good people in their life. It was Mike's OC at Oregon State, Danny Langsdorff, who donated his kidney to Lori. They were humbled then. They are completely blown away now by their Syracuse family. Chris and Mark, it really brings a new meaning to football family.
Yeah, it's a great story. Matt Kavanaugh has got to have his offensive line now protect his quarterback here on this drive. 3rd down for this Orange team and 6 yards to gain. And, you know, Mark, we talked about it during the break. Will they opt for a field goal? They would still be down just 1 touchdown if they do that, if they don't convert this.
Well, I think they're going to go for yards to gain here. If they get it, great. If not, they can settle for a field goal and try to get the ball back fast.
But it would be a long field goal.
Yeah, ball way over the head. It's going to be a long field goal, but right now, you know you're going to have 2 possessions with the football. With 3 timeouts left, I'm going to put the faith in my defense that has been very good so far. Try to kick this field goal here. Get the ball back and
Harris
try to
is
score
banged
8.
up on the play. Yeah, that's not good for Syracuse either in this situation.
No, and where he's pointing, that's a groin pull or hip flexor. Those are tough. Hopefully it's nothing bad, but
this would be a 52-yard field goal from here, Mark. You know, so and Andre Schmidt has the leg. I mean, he was the Groza Award winner 2 years ago. He's one of the best field goal kickers in the country. So that has to weigh in your decision making as well.
Yeah, we talked to Dino Babers, and he said, you know, if the conditions are right, it could be 53 or 54 yards in terms of his long. This would be right at the edge of that range.
Right.
You can see not much wind going on right now. Although with those rivers surrounding the stadium, that can change in an instant.
The Allegheny, the Monongahela, those rivers, and the Ohio
Those
rivers?
ones, yes. Those ones.
Monongahela, that's a very easy word to say. Harris walked off under his own power. That was good to see, as Coach Babers is just contemplating right now.
And you know, the conversation right now in that offensive huddle is, you know, this is what the game comes down to. This one play, 4th and 6. We need to gain 6.5 yards in order to continue playing today in a competitive outing.
Coach Narduzzi, defensive coordinator Randy Bates. We're going to see what Syracuse came out with. They called a timeout to discuss things. Tonight at 11 o'clock Eastern, it's the huddle. Quartet of Jordan Cornett, Eric McLean, E.J. Manuel, and Mark Richt. We'll be back with complete breakdowns of all 6 ACC games today. The huddle right here on the ACC Network and on the ESPN app.
And you know, how did we get to this point in the game? You know, early on, you saw the sacks, the pressure up front on Tommy DeVito, and then Kenny Pickett being able to get confidence early, hit his targets down the field for touchdowns. But there were some mishaps and some fumbles and some missed opportunities by Pittsburgh. 3 field goal attempts that went awry. And right now, Syracuse, basically it all comes down to this one play. Can they convert on 4th and 6 to extend this drive and hopefully get the ball back to tie this one up or go for the lead?
Mackenzie Pierre in the backfield with Rex Culpepper. To the outside, and no shot to get Courtney Jackson the ball on that play.
No, it was not a very good throw by Rex Culpepper. Again, not sure if he's in because Tommy DeVito is having some lingering pain from the hit he took early in the game. But honestly, this is very reminiscent of what we saw last year in this matchup. Tommy DeVito went down, got banged up, got sacked 9 times in that game, and they had to rely on their backup, Clayton Welch, to come in and finish the game. And although the game was close, it just didn't seem like Syracuse had a ton of momentum at any point. And you see the yard differential in this game. Really, the reason Syracuse was still in this one up until this point was the missed field goal attempts by Pitt.
Now the Panthers will put that running game to the test here as Pickett goes under center. Get Davis dot in the eye. Skirts back inside, picks up 4 on 1st down. Syracuse with 2 timeouts remaining. Check that, all 3 timeouts for Syracuse.
I'm not exactly sure what they're waiting for to use them. They need to have 2 scores. The clock's running down. You get that run play on 1st down, you stop them. You got to stop the clock, try to get the ball back.
Kenny Pickett will use all the play clock. Again to Davis, who runs hard inside.
This clock is continuing to run as Syracuse is not using their timeouts. You get a good look there of Vincent Davis, a guy who has maybe emerged as, you know, number one running back. Andre Powell, the running backs coach, talked about extending plays. You saw there, broke a couple tackles, got that forward lean, setting up a 3rd and short.
Davis again picks up the 1st down, and that should pretty much do it. Now Syracuse is going to have to use those timeouts.
And they're not. It's a tough signal that your coach is sending you right now, honestly, by not using the timeouts. To me, as a player, that means coach is giving up on the game already.
Pretty good with ACC teams tonight on ABC. Miami, Louisville. We know how explosive Louisville can be. De'Aaron King with Miami. Get a good chance to see him. Davis carries for about 5. Clock continuing to run.
Not using the timeouts. Looks like, I mean, this to me is astounding. I mean, it's a 2-score game. Your defense has been playing well. But what you do is signal to your defense after that 1st down run where you don't call timeout and basically say, sorry guys, this one's over. With 3+ minutes left to go.
Davis again. Bounces it outside, wants to stay in bounds, cuts it back in. And he is forced out of bounds, but he picks up the 1st down, which is equally important.
You got to be encouraged if you're Tony White with your defense and how, really how physical they played in this game. Got a lot of tackles for losses. They recorded sacks of their own. They got 3 sacks on the day, 8 tackles for losses. They really have made it difficult for Kenny Pickett in this offense the entire game. And you see them lining up, Pitt lining up in the victory formation, just taking a knee. And I'm sure there'll be lots of questions asked this entire week of how come you left 3 timeouts up on the board.
Pittsburgh 42 seconds away from improving to 2-0 on the season. Came in this weekend ranked number 25 in the most recent AP poll. Mark, we talked last week about their start to the year. 4 games at home to start the year, and then next week a huge game against Louisville. You know, if you think you're in position to be one of those top 2 teams to play for an ACC championship, or at the very least one of those top 3 or 4 teams in that echelon, the winner of that game next week between Louisville and Pitt is going to go a long way in determining that.
Absolutely. And remember, Pitt came into the season, they were ranked by ACC media as 8th, supposed to finish 8th in the conference, and you know, they are hoping to disregard that ranking, and they will have a chance to prove it against Louisville.
Coach Narduzzi bringing his charges together. Dino Babers